Hi there, I'm Roshan. Today, we have a story about love, lust, death, and heartbreak. But most importantly, we'll be walking into a story of racial biases, differences that divide our community. Town and Country Lovers Part 2. Our story begins in a village. Farmers, white farmers, black farmers. The children would play together until the white children were taken to schools, and black children were not, for they were often late in their studies. Let's go take a bus to a farm. We're meeting our main character today, and then some. You better listen carefully. This is one of the unsolved crimes, a death of an infant girl, possibly killed by her own father. No one knows. We shall go and find out what really happened.
Who are you talking to?
The audience. I hope the trip won't make me fall asleep. Let's begin in spring, where everything starts to flourish. Everything including the heart. A story of young Thibidi, a black girl who falls for a white boy named Paulus but ends up marrying Jabulo.
Hi. I'm Thibidi and this is my story. It's been years since my life was changed unexpectedly. The farmers' children used to play together whether they were black or white. That's how I met Paulus. He was my friend but he was white and I was black. Even a friendship would have been frowned upon. But we were friends. Drawn to each other like a moth is drawn to light.
We are also meeting Dr. Paulus today, to ask about his side of the story. Hello Dr. Paulus. Thank you for meeting me today.
Of course. It's not a problem at all. How can I help you?
We just have a few questions to ask you.
I think I know. Thibidi and I were friends. I won't deny that. We both grew up in farms. We were playmates.
Nice to meet you. Can you tell me how you know Paulus?
I used to know Paulus and the other children of other farmers. My father was a farmer. I met Paulus for the first time during a wedding when I was 15. We had sex in a locked storeroom at that time. He's a notorious playboy. We were just messing around. I knew it was nothing serious because he slept with a lot of girls in school.
I was young. He gave earrings and a red plastic belt, and I thought we were going to be together forever. Thinking about it now, it all seemed so foolish. We went to different schools and lived on the other side of the town by high school. I didn't know he was sleeping around with so many girls. I wasn't really aware of how popular he was, so of course, I gave myself to him. Like I said, I was young and I got pregnant with Paulus's daughter.
I'm Jabulo. I have known Thibidi all my life. I knew I was going to marry her when I first saw her. I knew Thibidi was infatuated with Paulus. He was giving her gifts and all. Things I couldn't afford for her. He was the farmer's son, and I was a laborer on that farm.
I was 19 when I had to leave for veterinary school. I didn't know Thibidi was to marry Jabulo. She never told me about it.
Jabulo's parents and my parents met to discuss the marriage. Everything was arranged. I did not tell Jabulo that I was pregnant with another man's child. It would have been a disgrace, plus being barren would have been worse than being pregnant. I remember everything. Jabulo is a good man. I think he knew the baby wasn't his before I even gave birth, but he accepted the baby like she was his own.
She was beautiful. She was light-skinned. I knew she wasn't mine and that she was Paulus, but I saw her as my daughter. I swore to myself I was going to take care of Thibidi and our baby girl.
I returned home from school. I found out she was married and she had a child who was almost white. I did not know she was pregnant, and I certainly did not want a child.
He did not want the baby. Most importantly, he didn't want anyone to know that he had sexual relations with a black girl. That was what he was worried about. I knew it.
Did you visit Thibidi and the baby?
Of course I did. I wanted to make sure if it was true, the baby was mine.
I remember the white man, Paulus. He was the farmer's son. He came to the kraal for the first time in years. He visited and the next day, the baby died.
She was only 2 weeks old. He told me not to get the baby close to his house. He didn't want anyone to know she was his. I saw him get inside the house. I heard the baby burp like she was full, but I never imagined he would poison his own child.
She accused me of murdering a baby. She had no proof.
He was alone with the baby. That's what Thibidi told me. He did not want the child, so he poisoned her. I think he knew we would not have enough proof to prove he was guilty.
For the first time in court, I was hysterical. My baby had died. I accused Paulus of poisoning her even though I did not see him do it. I just knew. I knew in my gut that he did.
We were in court. She was hysterical, saying nonsense. She accused me of threatening to shoot her. I don't even own a gun.
Of course, we lost the case. Even a year later when Betty and I had another child. They did not do anything to prove Paulus was guilty. People were frowning of how could a white man be in a relationship with a black woman. It was just not accepted.
I saw Paulus in court for the last time. He won. While I grieved the loss of my baby girl, he was able to live his life with a name untainted and unpunished.
Of course I announced to the public that I was no longer seeing Thabiti. She's married, plus she's black, it wouldn't be common and accepted.
That was the story of Thabiti, Paulus, and Jabulo. Why couldn't society accept interracial relationships? Society has created racial prejudice and standards that do not coincide with the truth. Injustices occur every day for people like Thabiti, and people like Paulus keeps getting away. Will you learn and unlearn what you know about race?